Street photography is mostly known for candid and intimate street shots. Today I like to talk about how to shoot with intent in street photography. But how do we do that when everything on the street seems like random or a happy coincidence? Today I like to give you a few tips on how to do that. Alright, let's go. Tip number 1. Don't rush yourself. When shooting with intent, it's all about taking your time by slowing down. Don't allow yourself to rush through a photo walk because you have other things to do. Allow yourself to wander in a slower pace than you normally would. This does not mean it's going to be a Sunday stroll where you are unfocused. You still have to be alert, focused on whatever you're seeking, and be attentive. So how do you stay alert and focused on whatever you're seeking? And when you're alert and focused, you are more attentive to your surroundings. You are more interested in the small details, or you pay more attention to the small details in the scene. And normally I would stand at a scene for 10-15 minutes just to get a feel of how the scene is, what kind of movement there is. So is it a rapid movement? Is it a slow movement that is happening in the scene? And also, are there people? Are there animals? Are there kids? Are there traffic? So what kind of movement is the scene? Is it vibrant scene? And from that point on, you can determine if that's what you're seeking. A great trick not to hurry yourself is to use the viewfinder on your camera. And this is really good because you allow yourself to take your time by putting it up to your eye and really composing a photo. And also it takes more time and effort to do that. When I'm doing street photography with intent, I tend not to double book myself or book myself back to back, either immediately before the photo walk or immediately after. And that way I don't rush through a photo walk because I'm preoccupied thinking about I have something else to do, and also allow myself the freedom of just being creative, being part of the scene and be part of the moment. I also allow myself to completely immerse in whatever I'm doing at the moment, and that works out really well for me. Tip number 2 is to know what to look for. So before you go out on a photo walk and do street photography with intent is to know what to look for by planning and thinking ahead. This will allow you to be more focused on whatever you're seeking. A few examples of that can be to look for unique or candid situations where there is a specific gesture or emotion that is conveyed. So basically, you can also look for patterns. So there can be that people are wearing the same t-shirt or the same hats, or they have the same gestures at the same time. So there are many options to look for and also be at the right place at the right time. You can also try to do silhouette photography, which is very popular among street photographers. You look for light and shadow, that high contrast photos. And you can also look for reflections if the scene allows for it, which is also really popular, and use that as a foreground or background technique, and maybe also adding layering and texturing to your photos. So the options are many. It's just about knowing what you're looking for. Tip number 3 is storytelling through sets or series. So once you know what you're looking for, the next tip will bring your photos to the next level, but it requires a bit more effort and persistence. I'm talking about adding storytelling to your photographs. So especially when you're out doing street photography with intent, it's a good idea to have that back of your head to tell the overall same story. And it might be that you need to have an overall theme to your storytelling. And what I often do now on my Instagram account when I post new photos is to have a theme. And I often post more than 5 photos to convey a specific theme or a different story to my photographs. And that way I feel like that I'm telling it from multiple angles. It's still within the same universe or the same theme. So that way people can see it from different angles and really see what I was looking for when I was out taking those photographs. So try it out for yourself next time you're out on a photo walk to add the storytelling element to your photos. The next tip is to get closer than you normally would. So a great way of shooting with intent is to get closer to your subjects than you normally would. And this is not going to be for everybody, and it requires practice and also to be a little bit fearless. By getting closer to your subjects than you normally would, you can really capture those intimate and candid moments. And they often occur when you are a little bit closer to your subjects, because often people are showing emotions or micro expressions on their face. And when you're closer to them, there's a chance of you can capturing those moments. So for me personally, I try to get closer to my subjects more and more. And I recently bought the Fuji X100V, and this allows me to really get close to my subjects because I use the zone focusing system where everything is pre-focused, and it is so much easier for me to just snap a photo if I'm walking by somebody that I think is really interesting. And also the type of photographs that I'm making, it's really interesting for me because I'm trying to capture different emotions of everyday situations, and I can really do that when I'm up close to my subjects. A few final thoughts to wrap up this video. Shooting with intent can help you add another dimension to your photographs. So for example, you can be more reflective and also be a little bit more picky around the type of photography you're doing and the type of emotion you want to convey. So I hope some of these tips can help you do that. All right, see you in the next one.